The first one in my list is a text editor. If you've just begun your research and reading a lot of research articles and possibly want to make quick notes of important things you come across, only for this purpose you can do this on Microsoft Word. Obviously we are well familiar with it. It is an easy to use software and most of the time it comes with your Windows, so you don't need to put any extra money in purchasing it. Although it is not a bad choice for your initial documentation, but in the long run when you start writing your research articles, I would highly recommend you to move to LaTeX. Well, it's an open source software and it is free of cost. I have added a link to download the latest version of LaTeX in the description box below to check it out. There are many reasons to learn LaTeX. Many of you might have heard about it before, but for some reasons have not started using it, perhaps because it involves a little bit of programming and coding. And if you are not a coding person, it doesn't matter actually. You can easily learn LaTeX. It will make your life much simpler and will save a lot of your time and efforts. Just a line of code can format the whole paper. On the other hand, in Microsoft, you need to do these things manually all the time, which makes it a hectic process. Well, this will all start making sense to you when you begin to use it yourself. Many reputed journals like IEEE provides template in LaTeX format. You can easily download it from their websites and use it. The second one in my list is a software for statistical analysis. There are several options available for doing statistical analysis such as Excel, Origin and R. You can use any one of these. They all have more than sufficient options available for critical analysis of your data. For instance, we all often have to evaluate p-values using either t-test or analysis of variance. For those who are already into research, they already know how important these things are and often being asked by reviewers to add into your article. I personally use Excel and R for my research analysis. I would highly recommend you to learn Excel or Origin Lab. You can also go with R, which is again a programming language, but it is no rocket science, it can easily be learned. Also, R is very useful when you are dealing with a large amount of data set since it is a programming language and will possibly do your analysis much faster. But my choice is still to use Excel. Unless you don't deal with a large amount of data set, you can create all sorts of graphs and use the formulas for deeper analysis of your data set. Let's move on to the next one. Third one in my list is a reference manager. A reference manager comes to be the most handy tool to manage all those tons of papers that you have been reading or will probably read during your PhD. I use Jotaro. The other option is Mendeley. Both have incredibly strong functionalities. The merits of using a reference manager are so many to list. It conveniently manages all the articles and quickly adds citations. You can select preferences to add what style of reference you want to set. On one click, it will write all the bibliography for you. The another most fascinating option it provides is that you can search for any paper by just typing the keywords. Suppose I want to look for a paper that contains a keyword, let's say CSP. So in the search option, you can just write CSP. And if you have ever read such a paper that contains information related to CSP, it will show up all the papers related to it, even if CSP is not in the title, but it's there somewhere in the abstract, as in this case. Let's move on to the fourth software. The fourth one in my list is an image editor. At some or other point of time, you also have to show some sort of creativity by displaying your work in a much systematical order. And you would definitely be required to put all your ideas together and present it using some sort of graphs or flowcharts. You can use three softwares for this purpose. First one is Irfan View. Well, it's a free